Mr. Shuhei Yoshida has been doing the interview circuit since he retired. He recently did an interview and said, I had no choice. Says he had to take over the PlayStation indie role or leave. He says his decision to focus on smaller titles was made for him. In 2019, he got moved from first party to go build relationships with indie developers. Apparently, he didn't have a choice. Jim Ryan said, "Yo, we need you to do this or leave the company." And that's essentially it. Moving from first party to indies, then leaving the company 4 years later. So
I feel like a lot of this story is Shuhei Yoshida going, no, but I liked it. No, but I really liked it though. I didn't have a choice in doing it, but if I did have a choice, I would have made that choice. I definitely would have still done that.
Yeah, I don't have good opinions of Jim Ryan for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah.
It's very apparent that the entire direction he wanted to take PlayStation in was to be another EA or Ubisoft or Take-Two, where
Yeah,
money
and you hate
printer.
Ryans, just anyone with that name also.
Yes, totally, absolutely. I actually don't, but
What, you're saying you're not violently enraged by Ryans? Oh, he
no,
lies for the camera, guys.
I was a big fan of Ryan Davis. He was cool.
Oh, see, there you go. He proved
Yeah.
me wrong.
Yep.
Foiled
Anyway,
again. Yeah, I agree. That's definitely the direction that Sony's been moving in, though, is that they want to be, the Giga developer, that which would swallow the world.
yeah, and I don't think that you can do that while you're a first party studio. Like, you have to
Yeah.
support your platform with exclusives and other stuff like that. And Jim Ryan wanted to take them there. And Jim Ryan also
Yeah.
was the reason they did a whole bunch of push for live service. And all of this worked out well. And none of the thing went wrong during that process.
Yeah, they
So,
definitely didn't cancel like 11 live service games
yeah.
recently.
So, and Shuhei Yoshida during the story said he says, I became an advisor for these companies and I'm continuing to work with some indie publishers, developers I respect. The transition out of Sony to becoming independent advisor is less of a change than moving out of first party. And he's like,
Yeah.
my goal when I started the indie job was to make my position obsolete. The company would be doing so well, there was no need for someone like me to tell everyone this was important, and I feel I've achieved that pretty
Right.
well. Yeah.
I mean, he evidently leaves a titanic legacy with Sony. He was just such a gigantic part of it.
Yeah, I mean, he spent 31 years at the company, and his goal was to show everyone there, no, this PlayStation thing is the real deal. It's important. It's gonna be huge. It's the
Yeah.
bee's knees, as the kids might say.
He is one of the giants of the video games industry. I feel that, he's just a huge part of why games are the way they are right now.
Yeah, I think the way that they handled promotion and the way that they handled courting developers to come make stuff for PlayStation, getting
Yeah.
developers away from Sega and Nintendo and on to PlayStation, and kind of being willing to support more adult games, being able to support
Right.
games like Tomb Raider and Resident Evil and Metal Gear and stuff that was kind of a little more mature. And then doing the same thing later on and kind of completely turning around the PlayStation's fortunes with the nightmare that was PS3. They turned it around, and then everyone's gonna remember Shu for that video. This is how you play your games on PlayStation 4, or share your games on PlayStation 4, and just hands it to him.
Yeah. And I think even his modern work with the indie side of the company has been evidently successful. I think there's a great range of indie titles on PlayStation, and that's obviously due to his work effectively screaming about how important indie title and indie support is for PlayStation,
Yeah,
because that was his job.
yeah, and they even got a lot of good indies to come out on like their Game Pass competitor. Like Sea of Stars
Yeah,
was on there day one. So was Stray. So was Plucky Squire. Like they've had some good stuff. My thing with this is just like it just shows how Jim Ryan just really feels like he didn't know what the hell he was doing. Like you look at the shift of
yeah,
PlayStation. You look at the shift of
companies they can't make good decisions. They gotta think about the shareholders. The shareholders want them to make good decisions, but they want them to do it the way they want them to do it, which is by not doing it. So
I'm not sure if I sent you that video, but it's the one that the title was "Investors Exist to Be Lied to,"
yeah,
and
uh, yeah.
the more I the more I report on the video game industry over my over a decade at this point is like that is more true than ever.
You
But
can't get ahead in business without lying to your investors. It's
yes,
always moral.
it is when it comes to artistic projects, at least, as far as I'm concerned. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Shuhei,
it's they've had a hard time, Sony, I feel especially lately, given the Concord disaster. Uh and right they I'm sorry, I'm weirdly blanking. They are Concord, yes?
yeah, they were the Concord people. They
Okay,
spent
so they set $500 million on fire.
400. There was 200 for the studio, 200 for the game. So yeah, the real funny part about all of that, I feel like Sony gets cut a lot of slack by the
Yeah,
game enthusiasts and the games press because Xbox is just doing so poorly. Like I feel like
right.
it is this effect of there is this burning ginormous trash fire, so it makes your regular dumpster seem okay.
Yeah, when you look at it, who in the games industry really is doing good? And the answer is Nintendo, but we just kind of they're off in their corner. We don't think about them.
It's like Nintendo and then select third parties. Like Capcom's doing great right now.
Yeah,
Capcom's
they're doing awesome.
sunshine and rainbows right now. They're
I
about
played
to
30 minutes of that Monster Hunter Wilds and like, damn, Capcom.
yeah, you got yeah, that's gonna be a money printer. Dragon's
Yeah,
Dogma
it
2,
always is.
top 10 best-selling game of last year. Year before that, Resident Evil and Street Fighter were top 10 sellers. Like
Yeah, and like it's like they keep making good games.
it's
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 this weird strategy that they've been choosing
it's
about taking
it's
their games and like giving them enough development time and resources. I don't know.
it
Inventive, I guess.
I know it's this weird thing where when they make good video games and they put them out at a decent price and don't try and nickel and dime you and put you in microtransaction hell. And then they sell. It's weird. I don't know what's
Yeah.
happening there.
It
You
seems
know,
like they're also making like really economical use of their resources. Like I feel like they have just squeezed RE engine uh and really got a lot out of using that engine for a lot of games.
I think Capcom is a total case study in why having a first party engine is so important and
Hmm.
like can be beneficial for a lot of different reasons. I know that the default is
Yeah.
we want to work on Unreal, Unity, whatever it is, like different engines, but like I feel like Nintendo and Capcom are both total cases of like, man, if we're willing to put the time and effort into our own in-house engine, it really saves cost in the long run, and it helps us a lot, provided it's not a nightmare to work with. Um,
I feel like Nintendo isn't even being particularly efficient about it. They're just doing it and like they let the game be developed long enough, Pokemon notwithstanding, as we previously spoke. They let the game be developed long enough that that it comes out good. They haven't set up a situation like they have with Pokemon for Mario, where they need the game to come out. Uh,
There was a very there was a talk from Nintendo to GDC ages ago that does not apply to the broader video game industry because Nintendo is one of the few companies that's willing to tell its investors to go shove it for a little bit. It's
yeah,
very, I don't know why
they're really good at it.
yeah, which
I mean, they
is
exist on another stock market. They're on the Japanese stock market, and so they're
yeah,
following different sets of regulations. So that can definitely contribute to it.
yeah,
That and
yeah,
also they can tank a massive drop in stock and bounce back, and they know that they can because they have like some of the most liquid funds of like companies in the world. Like
yeah,
they hold on to a massive fund for in case another Wii U happens, which is how they were able to tank a Wii U on the chin and be like, oh, that sucked. I guess the year of Luigi wasn't as good as we thought it would be, and then they kept going and they just made other stuff.
On that note, though, I think that but back to the GDC thing I want to talk about is Nintendo's advice at that talk was basically, yeah, just delay it, just keep working on it until it's done. There you go, till it's
Yeah,
good. Work on it till it's good. It's just well, yeah, that's great if you're Nintendo, man. That's
yeah.
awesome if you're Nintendo, I guess.
Hmm.
But so anyway, we have our last news story. Hey. Uh,
Xbox.
Xbox. We talked about them a lot yesterday, and today, the original Xbox designer, a Mr. Seamus Blackley, says power is not a selling point for consoles now. In an interview with Video Gamer, which I love that there is a press outlet just called Video Gamer, a
Yep,
A+ naming there, said that the power
they do
first approach
great.
said that the power first approach worked for the original Xbox back in 2001, since graphics weren't as polished as they are now. Focusing on the narrative on computing power helped the Xbox stand out amongst Japanese hardware companies. Quote, we were a Western company. We were